So I'm seeing a lot of people trying to set up 10 gigabit networking for their Unraid servers. There's not a lot of information online, so it took me a while to get this set up, but actually the process is relatively simple once you know what to do and once you have the right equipment. So this is the setup for my network. I have a router which is connected to my Unraid server, and then my Unraid server is connected to my main PC, and then other devices, so TV, phones, everything on your Wi-Fi is also connected directly to the router. So the one thing to know about this setup is it only gives you 10 gigabit networking between your Unraid server and your main PC. I found it for all of my needs. This is everything that I need. It means you don't need to buy an expensive 10 gigabit router. I can transfer files between my PC and my Unraid server at native speeds of SSDs, so essentially up to a gigabyte a second. So you get those very fast transfers, but the rest of your network will remain a 1 gigabit network. But this allows you to do it on quite a small budget. As far as equipment, I have two of these Asus XG-C100C 10 gigabit network adapters. You can get them on Amazon for less than $100, which I think these are the cheapest ones on the market, and they definitely do work with this setup. Just make sure you have a PCIe 4 slot available on both your main computer and your Unraid box. And bear in mind, this is going to mean that you have two network interfaces on your Unraid box. So you have one connecting to the router and one connecting to your main PC. The other thing to note is, depending on the version of Unraid server that you are running, you may need to upgrade to the beta branch. At the time of making this video, support for these the Asus network cards is only in the beta branch. So I'm running 6.40 release candidate 14. If you're running a later version of Unraid, then that support should already be there. If you do need to use the beta, you can, and I'll post these links below, you can go to the LimeTech forums, copy the plugin that they have, this convenient plugin to upgrade your Unraid server. Just go into plugins, install plugin, and paste it, and click install, and this will install the latest update. I would recommend backing up Unraid before you do that, just in case anything goes wrong, but I didn't have any issues upgrading. You'll have to restart Unraid after the upgrade, but that was all I had to do to get it working. Okay, so once you have got your cards, you obviously want to put one in your Unraid server, one in your main PC, and then you want to make sure your router is connected to your Unraid server through the 1 gigabit network card, and your Unraid server is connected to your main PC through your 10 gigabit network card. The other thing to note is you want to make sure that the cable that you use to connect your 10 gigabit portion of the network, so that unrated to the main PC, is using Cat6 cable. Cat5 cable is not supported. You have to have Cat6 cable for it to actually work at the 10 gigabit speeds. So once you're connected and you've hooked up your network, you want to log into your Unraid server, and you want to click on settings and then go to network settings. And what you should see is ETH0 and ETH1. So you now have your two Ethernet or network interfaces. So the first thing to note is go down to the interface rules, and you want to make sure that your standard 1 gigabit Ethernet is ETH0, and then as you see here, it says Atlantic. This is my 10 gigabit Ethernet card is showing up as ETH1. If these are switched the other way around, it's quite easy just to change them. You just select the other MAC address, click apply, restart your Unraid box, and it will update it. Once that's in place, all you need to do is go up to interface 0, go to enable bonding, make sure that's set to no, and then enable bridging. Essentially what we're doing is we're bridging the two network interfaces, so the Unraid box is essentially acting as a pass-through or a bridge to the network for your main PC. So enable bridging, yes, and then bridging members of BR0, you want to make sure that both your Ethernet cards are selected. In order to do this, you're going to have to stop your Docker services, and I think you have to stop the array as well. But once that's done, you can go and edit these, make sure they're both selected. And these are all the defaults. The network protocol IPv4. I set a static IP address because I want to have my Unraid box always show up on the same IP. So I put the IP and gateway in here and set up the DNS server. And then just click apply. All of these settings on ETH1 just remain default. And then once again, you can restart your server and you should be up and running with 10 gigabit Ethernet. So once you're set up, there's a couple of things you can just do to check that you're running over 10 gigabit. So the first thing is in your Windows settings, if you go into network settings, select Ethernet, and then click on change adapter options, the setting here, you'll see this panel. And then if I just right click on this and click status, what I should see is where it says speed, I should see 10 gigabits per second. If you're still seeing 1 gigabit per second here, there's two things to check. One is obviously that you're plugged into the right card on your Unraid server. Two, make sure that you're plugged in the right card on your PC, obviously, and then make sure that you're using Cat6 cable. Otherwise, it will drop down to that 1 gigabit speed. But as you can see here, this is set up as 10 gigabit. And then I can also verify on my Unraid server, if I go to info, I should be able to see ETH1. We see ETH0 running at 1 gigabit and ETH1 running at 10 gigabits per second. So now I'm going to test out my network. So I just have a file here. So a Windows ISO. See here the size is just under 4 gigabytes. So I'm going to transfer that to my main PC from my Unraid box. You can see this is on the network. Pull that across, and you see we're hitting 400 odd megabytes per second. So that's actually the maximum read speed of the SSD on my Unraid box. So unless you're running NVMe drives, you're basically going to be hitting the maximum read speed. So I hope this has been helpful. If there's any issues, feel free to post below, and I will do my best to help you out. But honestly, once I kind of worked out how to set this up, it really only took me about 5-10 minutes to actually get it up and running. So good luck and enjoy your super fast network speeds.